Aloha and shalom. It is time for the first quarter activation. For those of you who are new to these videos, we do them every week and they've been going on for years. So once a week we gather, people tune in from all over the world live, and we join together to receive an archetypal message. What does that even mean, right? The archetypes, which are represented by the cards of the tarot, are just representing the different angles of the mind, different angles of the collective mind and different angles of the individual mind. So really all we're doing is putting together the pieces by way of the cards, right? We pull the cards, we put together the pieces and form a message. Simple wisdom, elementary, foundational wisdom. Super, super simple. It's nothing crazy. It's not some complex message. The deepest wisdom is simple, universal truth. So that's all this is. It's much lighter than you probably think if you're new to these videos. If you're not new, welcome back. Thanks for coming back to the activation portal to join us in receiving this awesome message. So first quarter reading is 1 week after the new moon. So the new moon is all about a new beginning. That was last week. And last week was all about going straight to the challenge, not being afraid of our challenges, understanding that we actually have to go straight toward them with confidence and compassion. That was last week's new moon message. So now we're 1 week into this moon cycle, this month cycle, and we're just stepping into the lesson more deeply. We're starting to see more of the picture, whereas next week will be the full moon. The whole picture will be illuminated, and then from there we integrate the information that we receive. So we're just at the beginning stages of the process. We're not at the very beginning, that was last week, but now we're 1 week in. Go ahead and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I'm tuning in from Sedona, Arizona, as I usually am, unless I'm traveling, of course. I'm just beginning to shuffle the deck, shuffle in your energies. As I see you comment where you're from, I'm gonna shuffle in that energy into the deck. Just bring that awareness into this present moment. Brazil, Canada, South Carolina. Awesome. Quebec, Canada. Wyoming. Another Brazil. Denmark. Sweet! Global family tuning in. And as you can see, like last week, I'm wearing yellow because it's Sunday. Sunday correlates to the sun. It's been a really interesting experiment aligning the colors of my outfits every day with the planetary influence. Illinois, Montreal, Canada, Florida, Lexington, South Carolina. Awesome. And it's been really a cool experiment. Like I said, it's helping to organize my energies even in a subconscious way, which is really neat to observe as time goes on. Michigan, Bend, Oregon, Panama City, Florida, St. Pete Beach, Florida, Ontario, Canada. Sweet. And then when you're ready, just Alberta, Arizona, when you're ready, just go ahead and let go of the energy you've been carrying all day. Whatever has been on repeat in your mind, just pause just for now. If you want to welcome it back into your mind at the end of this activation, you're totally welcome to. But if you're here, be here, fully here, now. California, Michigan, Sedona, Maryland. Sweet. We are one. Indeed we are. Maine. And then when you feel like you've set aside whatever's been on repeat in your mind, when you feel like you've cleared the space, inner and outer, I mean, really do whatever you have to do inwardly and outwardly to set the space right now. Maybe you want to have your water nearby. Stay hydrated so you can be the best conduit for the information to come through. Maybe you need to clean up a little bit around you so that your space is clear and not cluttered. Maybe you're cold, maybe you're too hot. Just get comfortable for a moment. Scotland, UK, Dallas, Texas. So just for this moment, open up. And when you feel like you've done that, when you feel like you've cleared your inner and outer space and you're present, go ahead and connect to the deck however you know how. Use your imagination. Remember, these cards are representative of the different aspects of your own mind. So maybe you want to close your eyes and tune in to the many within the one that is you, the different parts of you. You can do anything. Remember, imagination is everything. The first principle of hermetics is the principle of mentality. The mind is all. So you can see, for example, this is a funny one I haven't shared with you guys before, but you can see an image in your mind's eye of you breaking, shattering, like the Sufi story of the shattered vase, the vessel. You shatter, and those are the many pieces, and then unite them back together. You can do this, whatever in your imagination helps you to understand that there are many parts within the one, of which we are all a part. You can see yourself shrinking and jumping into the deck. You can pretend you're here with me right now. You can pretend that you're connecting with all of these other brothers and sisters around the world. Maybe you were holding hands around the planet. Whatever you want to do, just take a moment to connect. Maybe there's one heart at the center of your mind, which is representative of the entire universe. And you see every name that's popping up being magnetized to that heart center. So first quarter, where are we at? What's the challenge for the week ahead? And what is it for? What is the challenge, which is also the gift? As we move through it, becomes the gift. And what is it for? What is it preparing us for so that we can have that vision to hold on to, that vision that's going to inspire us to keep going, motivate us to move through the challenge as we face it each moment through all of our experiences. So first is the challenge. And then is the why we're experiencing this challenge. And I'm going to take out my Hebrew cards. Look like this. And I'm going to give them a shuffle. Again, just shuffle in the energies that are present in the live. And while I'm doing this, you guys, if you have any favorite groups that you're a part of, light workers, self-help, meditation, realization, awakening, any of these kinds of groups, star seeds, whatever, anybody who is awake and aware, or maybe those who are not, whatever, if you feel there is a group you're a part of or a person you know that would benefit from this message, please share it now while we're live so that we can get as many in this activation portal live as possible. And if you don't feel called to do that, you may want to do it at the end. Share the recording. This video also gets loaded to YouTube, Rebecca Magic, and Instagram, Rebecca Magic. So if you have friends that aren't on the Facebook, they can find it there. Super easy to send a link, especially via YouTube. So share it now while we're live. We have 70 people live right now. It's pretty awesome. Thanks for being here. I'm going to pick the ally card from the Hebrew deck, which is usually what I do. I won't say always because I never say that. So the ally is, boom. And the ally is the one that helps us move through the challenge as we go. It's our strength. Just to show you what it looks like. The setup looks like this. All right, here we go. The challenge for this week. 2 of Swords. And this is the perfect card for the first quarter moon. In fact, when I think of the first quarter, I always think of this card because we're not yet at the full moon. So we don't have the full picture illuminated yet. There's a lot of unknowns during this part of the monthly cycle. Always pay attention, and you may start to notice this pattern. I do one-on-one readings, and I will tell you, my clients always come to me at this week of the month and go, I feel like I don't know. Don't know. I wish I knew. And it's like all this anxiety happens during this week, fear of the unknown. People will worry that they don't have the answer yet and feel just this tremendous anxiety about it. Like I should know now. Really having this heavy expectation that they should know everything now. But when you feel this, I don't know, and especially when you're feeling anxiety over it and it's looping in your head and then it's starting to make you sick, wow, those are all signs to pause and reflect. Look at the many signs, not only around you, but also within you. Nature speaks. And if you just look to the moon, which is why I use the moon for these activations, because it's such a clear reflection of what's happening in everything, even inside of our own selves. If you just look to the phase of the moon we're in, it will tell you so much. And usually this week, one of the biggest messages it has for us is represented by this very card, Two of Swords, indecision. I don't know yet. This individual is blindfolded. Swords is the suit of challenges. I don't know which way to go. I'm feeling challenged by this inability to make a decision. Hold on. Another week. And I promise you, there will be more pieces to the puzzle revealed. You will feel more confident. You will feel more prepared to make whatever decision it is you have to make. But remember this, if you don't know yet, it's because you're not meant to. If you find yourself really struggling over a decision, take a step back. And that's what this card is telling us about this week. It's like this, when we don't know yet, we have to bring it back to the present moment. When we worry about why we don't know and clearly we don't have the answer, and so if we just sit there and we keep worrying about it, we get so in our heads about it, we move out of our heart, we move out of our center. And we can literally drive ourselves insane. We can get sick from the stress. Stress is the number one cause of sickness. Whereas instead, when we start to feel that anxiety, it's okay, but become aware of it. This week, this is the challenge, so stay extra alert. This is the priority focus. When you start to feel anxiety about not knowing, bring it back to the present moment. And remember that if you don't know yet, it's just a time to stay present and keep gathering data. In order to gather data most efficiently, we need to stay present. Otherwise, we may miss an important piece of information, right? So for example, if we're so in our head worrying about why we don't know, we may be looking over here up into the ethers, not present, and then a very important sign passes right before us. And we just missed it because we're so in our heads. So if you don't know yet, bring it back to the present moment. Ground into your body and stay alert, stay aware. It's still a time, clearly, for gathering data so that you can prepare for when the time comes to know and to make a decision. If we're so in our heads, we are missing out on all the information that is actually going to serve us when the right and actual time comes to make that decision. Well, all the while you're just sitting here going, I don't know yet, oh, why don't I know? And the time comes to know, but you were so busy worrying about not knowing the whole time that you missed all the data that was going to prepare you to make the best decision possible. And one easy way, I'll give you one tool to bring yourself back into the present moment. Okay, I'll give you a couple, because one thing doesn't work for everybody. One way that you can bring yourself back to the present moment is by, whenever you catch yourself worrying about not knowing, first affirm, I'm not meant to know yet. And then bring your mind back to the simple blessings that are in your life. Gratitude. Gratitude is most grounding. Gratitude is most centering immediately. So for example, if I'm like, oh man, I really wish I knew which job to take. I'm thinking of like a mundane example, right? Oh, I really wish I knew which job to take. Just take one moment. It can't hurt you to let go of that for a moment and ground yourself and say, gosh, I'm so grateful to be alive right now. Gosh, I'm so grateful for my health right now. And even if you have an illness or a disease, what parts of your body or your emotionality or your mentality are functioning healthily? Because there's at least one part. Or gosh, I'm so grateful for this clean water right now. Oh gosh, I'm so grateful for this roof over my head. Oh gosh, I'm so grateful for this one friend that I have. I know you have one friend to be grateful for. Just think of that one friend when you're having anxiety about not knowing. Think about that one friend in the back of your mind, like, hey, just envision me and remember, this connection that we have. This is so beautiful and powerful, and just feel into that good frequency for a moment, just a moment, to get you to break that vicious cycle of worry and anxiety. Gosh, I'm so grateful that my mother and father brought me to this place. Gosh, I'm so grateful for my child, for this teacher, or this guru, or this book, or this bed, or this weather, or this land, or this planet. Jeez, there are many things. There are many things. And if you could only just pick one, it helps you to break out of that pattern, at least for a moment. And then what happens is the mind goes, oh, I did that. I have the power to break out of that cycle of worry and anxiety. I did that with my own mind. And if I could do that for one moment, I could do that in any moment. Because each moment holds an eternity. And all it does for you is it breaks that cycle and helps to empower you to understand that you always have that power within you to redirect your thoughts, because the mind is everything. Another way of just grounding yourself in the present moment and getting out of this need to know is to simply bring your focus back to the affirmation that all things are in perfect order. Even if I'm having some anxiety about a decision I'm not ready yet to make, I can rest in the knowing when I remind myself in that moment. I can rest in the knowing that it's all perfect. And no matter what happens, and no matter what decision I make, it cannot be outside of divine order, because nothing ever is. This is law. This is universal truth. And immediately right there, that should help you to relax. At least it should redirect your thoughts from this anxiety-ridden space to at least a more contemplative space. Even if part of you doesn't actually believe that everything is always in divine order, there's the deepest part of you that does. Because the deepest part within you absolutely knows that all things are always in divine order. And so at least contemplating the potential that all things might just be in divine order will certainly feel better than replaying the anxieties in your mind again and again, whether it's about indecision or really whether it's about anything. So remember this, not just for this week, but remember this truth for all things. Whenever your mind is not in a space of trust and faith in that divine order, begin to contemplate the absolute truth that all things always are, and faith it till you make it. Because at least just contemplating it is better than focusing on the worries. So this week, indecision. It's okay if you don't know yet. It's okay if you can't make up your mind yet. Do not waste your time in this vicious thought cycle of why I don't know. Why do I not know yet? Relax, at least for a moment. Go into nature. Do whatever you have to do to break that vicious cycle where your thoughts just keep going, I don't know. Okay, that's fine, you don't know. Go be outside with what you do know. Nature, your own reflection. And why are we going through this lesson right now? Why are we going through this lesson of being okay with not knowing and trusting the process? Holy shit. The tower, yeah. Okay, wow, I'm already seeing so many things coming up. This is like perfect. It's like, why should we be okay with not knowing? Because the path is about to take a major turn. So what feels really good to me is affirming to myself, you know what, it's okay to not know, because something great is about to happen. You don't need to be afraid of this card. If you want to release any fear that you have about the tower falling, you should read my book, because there's a whole chapter on why you should be positive about all of the cards. So much to say about that, but let's keep the activation going here. So this is what how I would look at it. Okay, of course I should be okay with not knowing, because you know what? If I pretended to know, and if I tried so hard to take control and micromanage what Creator is already doing so perfectly, I might sabotage this tower falling. I might get in the way of what just needs to take place. I might try to project a thought that's based on an old program and just recreate an old pattern. But this is Creator saying, hey, life is about to take a major turn. And it's okay to not know. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Be excited. Because whenever the tower falls, it's like good riddance. Because whatever's falling was not sustainable anyway, and you don't want to waste your time on a project that is not sustainable. You're here to live purposefully. You're here to offer your precious energy toward a source that is worthy and going to build something that's everlasting. If the tower is about to fall, let it. So not knowing is actually great when it precedes this event. Not knowing before the tower happens, it's like a protective mechanism that we set up for ourselves, that the universe so intelligently set up for us. It's like, just blindfold her, because if she sees what's coming, her fearful mind and the negative aspects of the ego mind may try to prevent that tower from falling, but it's what needs to happen. And in hindsight, we will see, and we will agree, that it's absolutely what had to happen. Because all things are in divine order, always, always. So it's good to not know right now. Don't only tell yourself, it's okay to not know. Say, it's great to not know. It's amazing. Because my know-it-all obnoxious ass would have tried to sabotage that. And Lord knows that we all need this. Again and again, that's why it's a card within the tarot. It's not something to be afraid of. It's actually a building block of all of creation. It's an energy that exists within all things. Don't be afraid of this idea that things have to fall for new things to rise. This is a universal law. So again, don't just say throughout the week when you're faced with this indecision, don't just say, oh man, it goes like this. It looks like this first. I'm going to go from the challenge to the gift, okay? As the challenge, it goes, man, I really just don't know, and it sucks that I can't make a damn decision, right? And then from there we go, oh, I'm remembering the activation and what Rebecca said, and I'm going to shift that, and I'm going to go, it's okay to not know. In fact, then here's the gift part when we bring our conscious awareness into it. In fact, it's great that I don't know, and I'm going to surrender and bring my mind back to center and focus on gratitude and the blessings that are here now, because a tower is about to fall, my life is about to take a turn, and I want that shift to reflect gratitude. Okay, so we move away from fear of not knowing, we accept the unknown, we sink into our hearts, we feel what we're grateful for, therefore what we attract is from that space. And then we can be 100% confident that whatever tower falls is only that which was not in resonance with that frequency of gratitude that we invoke in those moments. You see how they're connected? Do you see how they're connected? So the way to really ace this challenge when it comes through is whenever you feel undecided to, and especially when you feel tension, to relax, release, let go, embrace. Know that a change is coming. And know that the change that's coming is going to reflect whatever your response is to that indecision, because that response to indecision this week is going to create a frequency that's going to magnetize the change. It's going to create the change. It's going to pull that change toward you. So what do you want that change to look like? What do you want it to reflect? Because your response is going to show you what it's going to reflect. If you have a shitty response to indecision, okay, if you don't have confidence, if you have fear and anxiety, then whatever change is going to come is going to whoop your ass to teach you that lesson. And it's okay. You'll be fine. That's the harsh love of the mother. That's that pillar of severity. She doesn't just hold your hand through it all. She gives you the lessons that you need. And it's all good. Whatever your response is, we're all just here to learn and grow and learn again and again and again until we get it. And then we learn deeper. But I'm asking you, what do you want your response to reflect? Because whatever your response reflects is going to be deepened and reflected by the universe in the change to come soon. So the more we can relax, let go of the fear around the unknown, let go of this punishment we put upon ourselves for not knowing. Just relax, trust. The more we sink into that space of surrender and trust, the more we can know that whatever change is coming is going to reflect that space that we hold in our hearts and in our minds. Okay, moving on to the ally, the Hebrew card. Lamed. This is the letter right in the middle of the Aleph Bet, and it's the tallest one, And it's representative of the heart. It's the first letter of the Hebrew word for heart, which is lev. Heart, lamed, heart leads the way. It is the most important. That's why it rises above all the rest of the letters. It points the way. So this is our guide right now. And I mean, could it be any clearer? Let's look at the cards. It's saying as you go through this indecision, you're so in your mind, right? Because challenges are always about, like, we get stuck in our heads about it. When if we just shift what's in our mind, we can make it through the challenge. We can transcend the challenge, rise above it. Right? So we're so in our heads when we're around this challenge, when we're undecided. We get so in our heads. We just spoke about that a moment ago. We get into our heads and out of our hearts, right? So we just said that when we pulled this card a moment ago. So who's here to guide? The heart. We have to get out of our heads and into the heart. So in those moments where you feel like, God, I just don't know. And you're like, oh yeah, you remember the activation. It's great to not know. And then your ego says, no, I still hate not knowing, right? Because we've spent years perhaps feeding that program, that thought program of, I have to know, setting these crazy expectations for ourselves, or we punish ourselves in our minds, right? Well, that's like a heavy program to break. That's a neural pathway that is really strong, that we need to shake up, that we need to break up, that we need to transform. So that ego might be strong in those moments. You might have these voices within, and that's perfect. Let the many within the one, the voices in your head, let them talk. Have that dialogue. Don't be afraid of it. They're there. You got to make peace with it. Otherwise, there's division, right? You want harmony. So when one voice says, I hate not knowing, we have to know. We have to know. And then you recognize and you say, no, it's okay. We don't have to know. It's actually great to not know. We have to embrace the mystery. And then the ego barks back and it's like, no, I hate myself for not knowing. That's where the guide comes in. That's where the Lamed will help you. You might want to print out the letter Lamed, Lamed, put it on your altar. You might want to Google it, make it your phone background. Because the Lamed holds the magic that can subconsciously plant this archetypal wisdom into your mind. Without even thinking so much about it, just the image of it will invoke this wisdom. Subconsciously. Bypassing the monkey mind. Bypassing the ego and getting deep in there so you can't sabotage its wisdom from coming through you. The Lamed will help you do that. The Lamed is also associated with Arcanum 12, the hanged man, aka the martyr. He's the one who makes the sacrifice. It's devotional sacrifice. The hanged man is the part of us that's willing to give up whatever we got to give up to transform. After the hanged man comes death, right? So it's like we have to give something up in order to transform. Death is transformation, rebirth. And in order to be reborn or to welcome new into our lives, we have to get rid of the old. So the heart shows us how to do that. For example, it's that ego versus the higher self, when the ego is saying, no, we have to be stuck on punishing ourselves because we set this expectation that we have to know everything. And the higher self says, no, we really actually don't. That's actually not good. And the ego gets louder than that. That's when the hanged man or the Lamed come in and say, you got to sacrifice that BS. You got to sacrifice that old program. You have to really let it die. You have to let go of the need to know. No matter how strong that voice of that ego is, you have to be willing to sacrifice it. You have to tap into your higher self, of which the hanged man, aka the martyr, is a part, of which the Lamed is a part. The heart is your strongest part. And the voice of the ego is never more powerful than that voice. Sure, it may be louder, in human terms, whatever we judge the definition of that word to be. But the voice of intuition is stronger, and you better know it. You better know it. The heart whispers. The ego barks. That doesn't mean it's more powerful. So the heart will help you to soften and do what you need to do to sacrifice that old program that the ego is so diligently working to keep embedded within your mind. Remember, when the ego seems louder than the voice of the higher self, that higher self has to remember the power of the heart and say, the heart leads the way, you don't. The heart leads the way. And fear is not a part of the heart. Fear cannot exist there. Fear does not resonate with love. It's one or the other. And we all know what the greatest force is in this world and in all worlds, and that's love. And it emanates from the heart. So remember, the heart leads the way. That's why the Lamed is the tallest letter. So, show that ego who's boss, and let it work for the heart. And the heart doesn't disclude. The heart doesn't say, let's think of that dialogue again, okay? The heart doesn't say, how dare you try to put the fear in me? Because even that anger is coming from fear. The heart maybe laughs, softens, and says, I see what you're trying to do here. Keep me paralyzed in fear. Keep me thinking that I have to know everything. But I don't. And it's okay that you haven't known that up until now. And it's okay that you forgot. And it was all for a reason. But now we're ready for me to lead the way. So come along. We don't want to kill the ego. We don't need to kill anything. All things have a divine purpose. And wow, the ego's purpose is so powerful. The ego is like the sun and the moon like the soul, right? We need both. The ego is like the body and the mind is like the spirit. You know, there are many different associations you can make. We need both. The ego is the servant of the heart. The mind is the servant of the heart. So it's not bad. It's actually a key component on the path of the initiate. So no, the heart wouldn't scream at the ego or try to be louder than it or tell it, how dare you have this fear? It would say, I have understanding and compassion as to why you've been holding on to that program of fear for so long, but I'm letting you know now that you don't need to know, and it's time to embrace the mystery, so let me lead the way. Okay? It's okay to not know, says the heart. It's okay that you're undecided. It's actually perfect. Follow me, says the heart, all the way over to this change, this necessary change that's going to happen in your life. And I promise you, says the heart, it's for the highest good, for our highest good. Because everything that happens truly is, even when we don't quite understand, we will in hindsight. Nothing is outside of divine order. Wow. This really resonates with me. I've been feeling all day like there were many things coming up already today on this day of the first quarter moon that were undecided for me, or things that I thought I had decided. I'm realizing now I was never fully decided all the way through, and I'm not ready to be. And that's okay. And just the fact that I've realized that certain decisions I thought I made weren't fully decided deep within me, just the fact that I made that observation and realization is enough. And I'm so grateful for the amount of clarity that's been given me this day, because that's enough, because everything's in divine order. And I know that full moon is next week, and there will be more illumination and more clarity. And as much as I'm given every day of that clarity, in whatever dimension I'm given that clarity, is perfect and in divine order. And I trust and know that when I am angry at myself or anyone, which it's all myself because we're all one, if I'm angry or upset or anxious because I don't know, that's reflecting a lack of gratitude for the perfection of the divine design. That's basically saying, you know what, Creator? I don't trust you. I don't like your plan. I don't trust that everything's perfect. And you know what? That's not in resonance with my beliefs. Because I do believe that all things are in divine order, and I do trust in the Creator. And so I want to be aware of where my thoughts, where my words, and where my actions are not in resonance with that belief. Because really, when we are upset that we don't know, we're basically telling the Creator, I don't trust you. And that's not okay. I mean, it is, because we learn. And all things are forgiven in time. But what I mean is, it's not okay for me, because I want to set that standard. I'm working here now to harmonize my belief programs, my inner contracts, because I know that harmony within is harmony without, and that's what I want for us, that's what I want for the world. So the way that I do my part is by maintaining that balance within me. So I'm going to pay attention always to my thoughts, to my words, and to my actions, and make sure that they're reflecting that everything I believe is in harmony. But the different parts of myself are working together. Because if I say I trust in the divine plan, if I say all things are in divine order, but then in that same breath, I'm going, ugh, I'm resenting this aspect of my reality, such as not knowing something, or such as the cards I've been dealt, whatever they are, the cards I've been dealt. If I'm resenting anything that is within my field right now, I'm basically saying, I'm basically resisting what God has given me, and I'm saying, I don't think that this is for me. I don't trust what the Creator has given me. And that's not what I want for me. So I'm sure if you're still watching this activation that we have that in common. And I commend you for keeping up the good work and for staying on the path and constantly lassoing in your thoughts to realign them with the highest good. To constantly put in the effort each moment, because every moment is a choice, to constantly put in the effort to align your will with that of the Creator. We are here to sharpen our will. And may that will be aligned with the will of the Creator so that the efforts we're putting in are going to be sustained, are going to bring something that is sustainable, that are going to bring more light into this world. And light is eternal, and it will be here forever for our children and our grandchildren and their great-great-great-grandchildren and all the generations to come. Thank you for doing that, being the light that you are, and radiating more of it out into our world. Because when you shoot that light out of you like sunbeams, where do you think it goes? Light is eternal. It's the only worthy pursuit of our existence. It's like that light shoots out of you, and it's like a pinball machine. It goes boom, 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 and it's contained within the one universe. So creating more light, which means being virtuous. When we're in a virtuous embodiment, we're embodying any of the virtues. They are all rivers of the ocean of compassion. The virtues are all the different parts of the all virtuous light, which is compassion. So when we embody any virtue, we're embodying the light of the Creator, the original light of all creation, and we create more of it. And so that's like the goal, right? All religions, all cultures say, be like God, be like the Creator. How do you do that? What did the Creator do? He created light. He created this universe out of light. And so we can do that too. We can continue that process in the name of the Creator and of all creation. And that is a worthy pursuit. It's the only worthy pursuit. We send that light into the world, and it ping-pongs for eternity, for all beings to receive and hopefully also multiply. When we send out light, we create infinite opportunities for more light, for more light, and for more light. So thank you for yours. If you guys already are a part of my private groups, the Royal Path and Shabbat Crew, thank you so much. I've been having so much fun watching our group grow and seeing more and more people share. It's been amazing to see everybody really open up. If you'd like to join our groups, again, they're called the Royal Path here on Facebook, and Shabbat Crew, Shabbat. Shabbat Crew, we share about Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah, and it's for everyone. It's a spiritual, mystical perspective on Kabbalah, and we have members from all over the world. And every Friday night, we go live for the candle lighting blessing for Shabbat, and I sing the ancient melody, usually with my son or with friends as well. And everybody gets to be a part of that and share in that. And the day before, on Thursdays, I prepare you for Shabbat by giving my personal Kabbalistic interpretation. That just means mystical interpretation of the current Torah story, so that you can see how the message of the current story is aligned with today's lessons and what we're going through right here, right now. I do that every week. So if you want to learn about the Torah or the Hebrew Bible in a way where it offers you practical tools to apply to your life here and now, join our private group, Shabbat Crew. And thank you for those of you who have been giving me feedback on my book. I just want to say, I've been getting a lot of requests to purchase the book, and so grateful, thank you. But for those of you who have been on the fence about it, not sure if you're ready for it or if it's for you, I do have a preview of it where I read the introduction of my book on my YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com/RebeccaMagic with a CK as it's spelled here on Facebook, and you can get a little preview of my book. The chapter that I read is from the very beginning. It's called The Storyteller's Activation. So check it out. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys on Friday or Thursday for the live Torah portion reading in our Shabbat crew group. Shalom.